And it's your girl, LuvLuv. And this is the Mind His Business
Show. At Gospel Music Omaha. That's 100.3 FM on your radio dial. And GospelMusicOmaha.com is the website to find out everything you need to know about having a show, what's going on the station. If you want to advertise on the station, you can listen live right from the website. Just go to www.GospelMusicOmaha.com and click that button up there in the menu that says Listen Now. You can hear us 24 hours a day, no matter where you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's show. As of this conversation right here, we're going into Memorial Day. So, of course, we do want to acknowledge those that have put their lives on the line in defense of this nation and who have paid what they call the ultimate sacrifice, which really that's not really the ultimate sacrifice in the way that Jesus is the ultimate sacrifice. Jesus was one man that died for the whole entire world. Our veterans are individuals that die in the defense of those of us that are here in this nation. But unfortunately, as much as we want to, we can't bring them back from the dead. Only Jesus could do that. Jesus, as a matter of fact, I was listening to some Muslims debating Christians on the internet, and they said, well, if Jesus can't really be God because Jesus died, and you can't kill God is what they said. And the answer to that is they didn't kill God. Jesus says in the scriptures that I lay my life down and I pick it back up again. And as a matter of fact, I'll show you that verse. In case you don't believe me, let me pull that verse up. I guess I got to get my internet browser open to show that. Because people have this idea that Jesus can't be God because he humbled himself to take on human flesh. But really and truly, his ability to take on human flesh is actually what makes him God. Because if you're God, you can do whatever you want. Even humbling yourself into the form of a servant, as what it says in the scriptures, that he humbled himself into the form of a servant so that he could serve humanity and be the perfect sacrifice to reconcile us back unto God. It says, I'm typing it so I can get you the exact reference there. That Jesus said in John chapter 10, verse 18, and we'll just kick it off with that, and then we'll jump into some other things. So John chapter 10, verse 18, Jesus is speaking with his disciples, and he says in verse 7, then Jesus said unto them again, verily, verily, that means truly, truly, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. If any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. If we die as human beings, we can't redeem anyone's life just by us dying. As much as it is important that we protect our nation, it's not the same as protecting the whole entire world. So skipping down into verse...
Wait, you have to unpack that now. He said, I am the door.
He is the door.
First of all, he said, I am. That's a capital I am.
That's the same I am in the burning bush when Moses said, well, who shall I say sent me?
That's
and
right.
He says, I am who I am.
That's right.
So down in, I guess I'll read verse 10 too, since we're talking about it. If any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. Jesus's death has created a way for all of us to rise again in what's called the second resurrection.
Come on.
And to spare us from the second death.
Come on.
So if we die naturally in a war, or we die of natural causes, our death, even if it was a heroic death in order to save someone innocent, our death does not pay the price for someone else to be able to live eternally. And that's what Jesus has done, which is greater than what human beings have done. So he says in verse 10, the thief comes not but to kill, to steal, and to destroy, but I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. So going down, skipping down, verse 17, therefore does my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I might take it up again. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself.
Come on,
I choose to lay it down. I have power to lay it down,
right,
and I have power to take it again, to take it up again. This commandment have I received of my Father. And so there was division, therefore, amongst the Jews, because he said these things. And many said, he has a devil, he's crazy. Why are you listening to him? And others said, well, these aren't the words of him that has a devil. Can a devil open the eyes of the blind? And so they were talking about how, well, obviously he's not just a crazy man, because look at all the healings and the miracles that he's doing.
In other words, can a house be divided against its own self?
And here he is claiming that no one takes his life, but he's choosing to lay it down, and he has the power to lay down his life and the power to take it back up again. A mere mortal man, a mere human being cannot do that. So I kind of think of it like this. If I were going to draw an analogy, let's say that I created a video game, Call of Duty, that sort of thing, Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, if you're older. Okay, let's say I designed the game. I created the whole world that the game lives in. Those big world games where you get to walk all around the map and you got missions and you're doing all these things. And if I'm the creator of the game, wouldn't you think that I have the ability to actually step into the game as a player in the game and play the game along with all of the other characters that are in the game? My role in the game to be the same as the other players, but yet I still have the godlike powers of the game, because I know all the cheat codes, I know all the secret passages, I know how the game ends, I know how it was constructed, and if I want to give a player an extra boost of life, I can do that. If I want to give someone extra moves on the board or whatever, because I created the game, I have the ability to do that. That is, it's not a perfect analogy, obviously. I mean, we could pick apart the analogy, but I think you get the point, and that is, because God is God, if he wants to, he can come down and interact with humanity, and he can lay down his life and take it back up again. That would be like if I created that video game and I decided that, you know what, I'm going to go ahead in this Call of Duty game that I created, I'm going to go ahead and let them shoot me up a little bit. And I'll go ahead and die, but then I'll be able to respawn myself if I want to, because I created the game. Or I could make myself bulletproof if I wanted to, because I created the game. Or I could make the whole entire game change and set up a whole entire new world in the game, because I created the game. Or maybe I want to change the whole kingdom that's in the game and change up all the team players and get rid of all of the malicious code in the game. Maybe somebody put some bad code in the game, and I can get rid of all the bad code in the game. And anyone that's tried to hack the game, I can patch it all up to where they can't hack the game anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's what Jesus is actually doing. He is God, but when we say he took on flesh, or he incarnated in flesh, that's what we mean, is that it doesn't make him any less divine in nature just because he humbled himself enough to kind of play the game with us, so to speak. But because he is God in human form, he is able to heal the sick and raise the dead and do miracles. And then after he rose from the dead, he took his life back up again. Mm-hmm. He was able to walk through walls and teleport and still eat food with people. And they could see him and know that that's who he was, because he is God in human form. It doesn't make him any less God just because he took on flesh. So hopefully that helps a little bit with that whole idea of can a person kill God? Well, no, you can't kill God. But Jesus chose to lay down his life and take it back up again for our sakes. For our sakes. That's why it says in John 3:16, the very famous verse, that for God so loved the world that he gave his begotten son. That word begotten doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that God had a baby. What it means is he sent forth his divinity into humanity. He sent forth his divinity so that whoever believes on him would not perish but have eternal life. And then he goes on in verse 17 of that same passage. We're still in John here. If I jump over there, John 3:16 is the one we always read, but we need to go to the verse after that. For God sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
And son is in a capital S-O-N.
So that's really what I wanted to say about that. So how you doing today, LuvLuv?
I am doing fantastic.
Tell us what's on your mind this week.
I am thoroughly resting because everyone knows that my dad, I was with my dad for quite some time, and I still am, but I'm taking a break for a little bit, and I'm happy to be doing that. But other than that, I want to say thank you all because, you know, there's a lot of miracles that have been happening, and I'm here to tell you that hallelujah, those miracles cannot be discounted. They are documented, and I am so grateful because, you know, they had my dad on his way out of here, and my dad said, nope, nope, I'm not going nowhere, and I'll let you know when I'm ready to go somewhere. But I'm not ready to go anywhere right now. And I'm so grateful. And I'm taking a break. And I just like to tell all of the servicemen and women, thank you very much for your service, for actually not being afraid to go and put your life on the line for me. Thank you very much.
That's
I
massive.
really, really, really appreciate it.
I second that motion.
I really appreciate it. I thank you for your service. I thank you for being so selfless and not going AWOL, because, you know, they could go AWOL, you know. They could go AWOL, and you didn't go AWOL. But thank you very much. I just wanted to say that. And just remember that this is a time to be grateful, because there are lots of countries that are in war.
Yes.
And I mean it. And they are dying off. They're being offed. And so it's very serious. I don't want to take for granted our servicemen that are in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and the special service. What do I want to say?
Coast Guard, National Guard.
Yes. Come on here.
Special Forces.
There we go. Special Forces.
All of that.
All of it. And we thank you very much. And I just wanted to make sure that you knew that. And I want to say, Dad, I love you so very much. Thank you, Dad, for being a retired Marine and for going and being on the ground and putting forth your life for me, Dad. I love you. I love you so very much. And I want you to know I love you so very much. And I hope that you see how much I love you. And I've loved you for a very long time. And that can never be discounted. I love you. All right.
Now, see, now I feel bad now, because yours sounded so much better than mine.
What you mean?
Your kind words sound so much better than mine. Now I'm feeling like I missed it at something. You got me good this time. You did great. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I felt that. I felt it in my soul. I felt it in my spirit.
Okay.
I did. I felt it. Yeah, you've been catching me lately, man. You've been really catching me. One of the things that I'm glad about now that I'm older And I'm not old, by the way, y'all. I'm not old. But I am older than I used to be, as we all are. And when I was young, it was all about being tough and not showing emotion and not letting anybody see that they got to you and all that stuff. And now that I'm more mature, we'll say it that way, that I have fermented a little bit more in a positive way. Now I feel so much more free with my emotions. Like if I feel joy, like I really feel it, and I don't mind expressing it. I don't mind looking foolish in front of people for expressing it. Like, for example, we just attended a preschool graduation. Y'all's preschool, okay? So, of course, they had their little caps and gowns on, and you know they just they just so little and they
lied,
so tiny.
died, and prayed to the side.
And
Prayed to the side.
I'm watching these kids, and LuvLuv looks over at me, and I'm looking at the kids as, you know, they're marching down, they're doing their thing, and you can tell that they practice so hard to make sure that they got everything right, and they were just in their little 5-year-old way, so serious about, okay, I gotta walk down just right, and I gotta do what they tell me to do, and and they're so proud of their accomplishment, and I'm watching them, and she's watching me, and I'm tearing up, and she's watching me, and she's like, I see you crying over there, and I'm like, so what? It's beautiful. I'm happy.
She didn't used to cry, but now she cries, and
Man,
I like it.
I cry at movies now. When the main character be dying at the end of the movie, I'm oh, it's so sad. Or when they finally get together at the end, and they've been trying to get together the whole movie, and I'm tearing up.
You hear the music.
The music comes on, and it's, man. But there's a reason why I'm saying that, and that reason is that so many times we push down our emotions, and I'm talking about positive emotions, negative emotions, but there are a reason we have the emotions that we have, and it's okay to feel those emotions as long as we don't allow those emotions to control us, meaning your emotions, and you've heard me say this before, LuvLuv, emotions are wonderful employees, but they are terrible bosses. So saying that, what I mean when I say that is they're wonderful employees. They give you an indication on kind of where you're at, how you're feeling, what's on your mind. If something's bothering you, your emotions can be like the check engine light in your car. It lets you know, hey, something's going on. If you're feeling, upset or sad or angry and you can't quite figure out why, those sort of things, your emotions can be like the check engine light. So emotions can be wonderful employees. However, emotions can also be terrible bosses, meaning you don't want to make major decisions when you're in the middle of a negative emotion, because you can make a permanent decision about a temporary problem. And just like your emotions can come upon you suddenly, your emotions can change suddenly. And so you don't want to make a decision with a long-lasting impact while you are in an emotional state like anger or despondency or disappointment or fear. You want to go ahead and put a pause on a major decision while you're in that emotional state, because your emotions may very well change, and your opinion about the pathway you want to take could very well change once your feelings have changed. Which is why, from a financial standpoint, they tell you before you spend money on a major purchase, sleep on it. And then if you still really want it the next day, then you can consider purchasing it. But don't make impulse decisions financially that are large purchases. Now, if you're in the grocery store and you're in the checkout lane and you see that candy bar, and immediately you think to yourself, man, I haven't had a Snicker bar in, it's been about 2 years. And you look at that Snicker bar and you say, yeah, I got $2 extra in my budget this month, or however much a Snicker bar costs now because prices going up so high. That's not necessarily a big deal. But if you're in the car impulsively, you do want to go home and sleep, and it's okay to sleep on that kind of decision. If it's an expensive piece of jewelry, make that decision. You want to not don't let the sun go down on your wrath. I'll let you go ahead and grab that.
Thank you.
And I'll pull up that verse, scripture verse that talks about how you give place to the devil.
Do you still have to look up that?
So, to the devil.
Do you still have to look up that?
So,
You still have to look that. You still have to look that part up.
so
Can't just go past that like that.
I'm not going.
That part up.
So
Can't just go past that like that.
I'm not going past that. That being angry, difference between the two, how it says, be ye
Angry.
or gizo, to provoke or enrage or get exasperated or be angry.
Provoke. Yeah.
Be provoked.
Ask-
You know how
okay.
someone just
Ask.
like what we call it is be provoked.
Ask-
You know how
okay.
someone just
Ask.
like what we call it is getting on your nerves. 6, be ye angry, make you want to do all those. The word for sin in the
Yeah.
Greek,
Yeah.
harmatano,
Ooh.
which is to miss the mark, and so to trespass, you respond in a sinful way, or you allow the devil to get you. I don't like to use the word off your square because that's kind of a Freemason concept, but I think we kind of understand what we mean. Like,
What
don't
about when Moses hit the rock too many times?
here? It's more about when making him upset,
And
it caused
struck
him to
that rock.
disobey.
It
God
caused him to
told
miss
him-
out on the promise.
And we can roll over there and take a look.
It
God
caused him to
told
miss out on the promise.
And we can roll over there and take a look at that. If we have time, fighting for all of their needs, and of course they're in the desert, so water was hard to come by. So God told Moses, "This rock right here, I want you to take care." He did. He hit the rock one time, like God said. Water came out, and then the children of Israel were able to be sustained. But then later on, they were always complaining. They always God, and somebody said, "I'm about to be." Okay, someone is asking. It's a scripture says that he set up your doors of prayer that
Come in for you.
So continue on. It's okay to get upset, but it's not okay to stay upset. That's what it's getting at here. Be you angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Don't let anger for years, decades in some cases, literally our bodies, some of our health problems, and
Some of you are getting off.
you're angry. Don't your anger quickly.
Some
Fix.
things you can't, like molestation, different things that are to that error in that era. It's sometimes you just can't.
The way I like to think about things that can never be resolved is I like to think about, I may not be able to make peace with it, but I can call a truce with it.
Right.
Meaning to be the ultimate just judge because of something that I can no longer
Come on.
in your heart, ultimately in the end. And we don't know what that looks like
Or what?
again. And so in verse 27, it says, "Near to the devil, if you let your anger linger."
I think you have to look up that word place.
Well,
that word
to
place.
give a place to the devil means to allow it to, what do they say, living rent free in your head. Let's jump. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. So there's a problem. Moses didn't,
because they ran out of
cloud by day, and that every soul chose the vision of the Lord into this wilderness that we and our cattle should die there. So now they're complaining to cattle should die there. So now they're complaining to him. Now remember, God performed a miracle. God performed a miracle.
ungrateful,
He
blustering.
took lying all their. Now they mad at Moses and they complain because 99% of it was right, but well, you didn't have. I literally had that happen at my job this last week. Prime example. So I'm doing all this work from this job for this project, and I'm doing a good job. And I send these emails, sending them out, doing my emails, sending them out, doing my thing. And one of my project managers, right, email on your phone, doing a good job. That I didn't have a signature on my email. Then I had another project manager. Now, mind you, I created a whole document in a day. The whole thing was done. I was writing everybody in our group saying, document done in a day.
Hey, some people they look.
But document done in a day.
Hey, some people, they look.
But you would have been proud of me. I was angry, but I didn't sin. I was provoked, but I didn't sin. I didn't send no nasty grams, and I was gracious, and I just did what I was supposed to do. And I said, not too long. I didn't let the sun go down on my wrath. Right? I'm trying to be a good Christian here. So I let it go, and I went ahead and put the email signature on there to make him happy, because obviously he ain't got nothing else going on in his life, if that's the big problem. Because obviously he ain't got nothing else going on in his life, if that's the big problem that he wants to complain about. So they're not time to be grateful. Instead, they're complaining. So they're complaining to Moses here in Numbers chapter 20. And why have you, our cattle should die there? Now, Moses wasn't the one. Moses was the visible face of, Moses was the visible face of, he was the visible leadership, but God, Moses was the visible face of, he was the visible leadership, but God was the one, visible leadership, but God was the one supplying the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. Was the one supplying the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. But they would not be supplying the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. But they would not be trying to say nothing. But how many times in our lives nothing? But how many times in our lives nothing? Nothing. But how many times in our lives nothing? That God is doing nothing. That God is doing something, but people want to blame the Christian. God is doing something, but people want to blame the Christian they're going through. But But people want to blame the Christian they're going through, but they want to point us, only water to drink. So land is want to point us, only water to drink. So land is because God promised only water to drink. So land is because God promised land as fire. Land is because God promised land as fire, and as you said it was. And land as fire, and as you said it was. And how many times have people been like, and as you said it was. And how many times have people been like that, where you, how many times have people been like that, where you have a vision and you're trying to take them somewhere, but because they don't see it fast enough, or they can't visualize the vision, they're complaining at you that you've done something wrong or messed them up, when really all they really need to do is just be patient and be grateful, and they'll get there.
It said disbelief. Disbelief is a killer.
So in verse 6 of Numbers 20, and Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. So this is something they did. This is something Moses and Aaron did good. So when people were causing them problems, when they was getting on their last nerve, when they was stressing them out, when they was complaining about every little thing, the first thing Aaron and Moses did was seek the Lord. So they went into the tabernacle and they bowed down, they prayed, and the Lord appeared to them, and he will appear to you too. Somebody getting on your nerves, and they pushing that button, seek the Lord, and the Lord will give you what you need. Okay. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying in verse 8, take the rod, that's a big stick, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother. So you and Aaron get everybody together. We gonna have a whole family meeting. We gonna have a whole meeting. This is what he told them. Gather you, Aaron, and everybody, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. So while they're watching, I want you to speak to the rock. That's the command that he gave.
Speak.
He didn't say hit somebody with the rod, which I'm sure Moses may have wanted to do that. He didn't say clonk somebody over the head, even though on the inside, he probably wanted to clonk somebody over the head. Whoever was talking the loudest, that's the one he probably wanted to mollywop him up on the side of the head. But what God said was,
speak.
Bring everybody together, and I want you to speak to this rock while they are watching.
Yes.
And it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts, that means their livestock, their animals, to drink. So here's the setup.
What do you suppose that rock?
Here's the
Listen
setup.
to that rock. Who do you suppose that rock was?
You know, Jesus is the rock.
Hallelujah. You got it.
Because in the book of John, he says, I am the living water. I think it's the book of John. I am the living
Rock
water.
of my salvation. I go to the stone that the builders rejected. Yay!
He says that I am the living water. Anyone who drinks of me will never thirst again. So here we see a type of Jesus right here, because you know and I know water don't come out of rocks. I've broken many a rocks over the time. Have you ever taken a hammer and broke a rock and expected water to come out? No, of course not. So this is the setup. So they're upset. They're complaining. So Moses and Aaron, they go to God. God says, you're going to have a come to Jesus meeting right here. You're going to have everybody come together. I'm going to want you to speak to this rock. And when you do, while they are watching, it's going to bring forth water, and you're going to give everybody something to drink, including their animals. Now, this is deep. This is miraculous. So in verse 9, it says, and Moses took the rod from before the Lord, or in front of the Lord, as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, that means in front of the rock, and he said unto them, hear now, you rebels. And you could tell Moses was upset, because he talking about, you rebels, y'all complainers, y'all always trying to be hit with the program that God is trying to get you to. Here now, you rebels. Now remember, Moses was always a little hot-headed. Remember when he killed that guy that was messing with the Hebrew servant?
He sure did.
And he killed him.
Look,
so Moses,
he said you don't know me like that.
Moses had a temper.
He
Moses
said you don't
was
know me
hot-headed.
like that.
Moses was impulsive and subject to anger. If you go back and you read about the story of Moses, you'll see this is a guy that was very emotional.
But you know what though? And it said that he had a speech impediment.
Well, he said he had a speech impediment. Moses had there's nothing the matter with being pat him and speaking
that you don't.
Moses was a very passionate and emotional man, brethren. Talk about y'all rebels. So this is a guy, he had lots of different emotions. You know, you can see all of his emotions on display. He was fearful when he was doing exactly what you said. Well, God, I don't really speak very good. So he kind of had some self-confidence and emotions. Must we fetch you? And Moses him to hit that rock, didn't he? What did he say? He said in verse 8, I want you to take the rod, but I want you to speak. Moses for you. I got to get the water for you and get it out of a rock. And I got to do this and I got to do that. He didn't obey God's instructions. Don't allow. This is how Satan, but it's not okay to say. So he only partially obeyed, but he hit that rock instead of speaking to the rock. Now, God still gave everybody water. Notice that. And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation and all their animals had plenty of water to drink. So God still did his part. He did his part. But verse 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses, therefore you, this is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel, this is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them. But this is deep here. Because you didn't believe, sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore, ye congregation into the land, disobey at the 1 yard line, God is not going to allow you to taste the victory of the touchdown. That's what he told Moses, is that, you did great for a long time, but you allowed your anger to cancel out your inheritance of this promised land. He did not get to go.
I believe that rock was the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh.
He did not get to go down in verse 27. So skipping down, so they continue on, they're journeying on. We're not going to read through all of that. So skipping down to verse 24, verse 23, and the Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor, Hor, by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah.
But wait a minute. Hold on here.
So he had to
suffer right along with Moses, who smote the rock.
He was right along with him.
He didn't smoke the rock, though.
He was right along with him. Apparently, he was in agreement with what Moses did. Because they both prayed to God together, and God gave both of them the instruction. So I would gather that Aaron...
I would think only one of them.
Aaron probably could have told Moses, now you got to calm down a little bit, Moses. You getting a little upset here. Wait a minute. What are you doing with that rod? Don't go hitting that rock. God didn't say hit that rock.
Okay.
That's where it is. And sometimes when you got a friend, family member, loved one, and you see they're getting upset and they about to step their foot in that doo-doo there because they're mad, it's your job to run that interference to keep them from doing and saying something that they should not be doing or saying.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you love the Lord. If the Holy Spirit shows you that somebody's about to do something dreadfully wrong that's in your personal circle because they're upset, don't be cheering them on to do the bad thing, to say the wrong thing.
Mm-mm.
You can allow them to vent to you and express their emotions, but don't allow them to disobey. And not that you have control over another person.
Well,
Understand what I'm saying.
I give you permission to stop me if I'm about to do something terrible.
Well, we both do that for each other.
Yes.
There's been plenty of times I be want to give people peace of my mind, and you be like, now you know you don't need to be saying that. Because you know that's just going to make it worse. You say that stuff to me all the time.
Yeah, but then I couldn't believe it when I went through the menopause, and I just didn't care. I was like, oh, smote them all. Oh, my God.
So many of my apologies in life sound like this. I don't necessarily apologize for what I said because I know that what I said was the right thing to say, but I definitely apologize for how I said it because how I said it was hurtful.
How it was delivered.
I didn't deliver the message in the way that it really was in my heart, and I can see that the impact of what I said really hurt you, and I apologize. Do you know how many times I've said that exact apology? Oh my gosh, I'd be tired of saying that apology, but I gotta slow down and don't let things come out the mouth too quick. I need to, not allow that anger to cause me to
And
say
I was like,
something.
nah, I just need to get a thicker skin.
So, but look at this. They still were children of God, right? God didn't remove Moses and Aaron from leadership. They still followed along and they were obedient in a lot of other ways.
Ooh.
But when it came time for them to receive the inheritance or the blessing or the promise,
they did not enter.
God reminded them of that disobedience that they did because they were upset. And it says here in verse 24, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son and bring them up unto Mount Hor, H-O-R, and strip Aaron of his garments. That means he has taken his authority. That would be like if you're in the military, you know how you have those stars and
The
you
stripes.
have those stripes and stars and all that. That would be
Pull
like
off
somebody.
the patch.
That'd be like somebody taking all your patches and stars that you had earned over your military career and just stripping you of them. Taking all of your rank and all of your accomplishments and saying, nope, you don't get to glory in none of that. So he says here, and strip Aaron of his garments and put them upon Eleazar his son, and Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, and he shall die there. So he doesn't get to die in the land of the promise. He can't go in because his anger caused him to disobey. Verse 27, and Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up into Mount Hor, H-O-R, in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them upon Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there in the top of the mountain, and Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. And when the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron for 30 days, even all of the house of Israel. And then if we fast forward, I'm still scrolling. Oh boy, that's a lot.
Can you imagine Moses' turn?
I want to give a moment of showing Moses when he died and he did not go in. So give me just a moment to scroll through and find the exact verse. Moses, because I don't want to have to read all those verses just to get to the one to make the point. Moses didn't go into the promised land. Let me pull this up here quickly. Where's the verse? Is it Deuteronomy? Yeah, Deuteronomy. I think Deuteronomy 3. Let me put verse. Sorry, y'all, that I didn't have this up. We're kind of doing this actually a little bit impromptu here, which is this is very
23.
good. Deuteronomy 3 through chapter 3 through chapter 7, but that's not actually. Let's go Deuteronomy 34, 1 through 4, where God allowed him to see the promised land, but he didn't allow him to go in to the promised land. So that's Deuteronomy 34. Let me jump down. See, if I was scrolling, I would have still been scrolling because it's a whole different book. And so Deuteronomy 34. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah unto the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees unto the Zoar. And the Lord said unto him, This is the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over there, thither is the King James verb. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab according to the word of the Lord. So God allowed him to see it, but he couldn't go. And he died without ever going into the promised land, all because of one act of disobedience, because he was mad. This is how serious it is that we do not allow our anger or our passionate emotions to dictate to us how we act and what we say and how we say what we say, because we do not want to lose God's great and gracious inheritance in our lives simply because we could not get our emotions under control. And this is deep to me because that was a lot of land. Did you hear all the places that I was naming off where he was talking about Gilead's land, Dan's land, Naphtali's land, Judah, all the way to the sea, all the way to the plains and the valleys and all the cities? He saw all of that from the top of the mountain, and God said, yeah, you can see it all, but you ain't going in, because when I told you to do something, you obeyed your emotions instead of obeying my spirit. And because of that, you don't get to go. And in the New Testament, if we fast forward into the age that we are in now, obedience is better than sacrifice. And you are going to face many trials and tribulations and troubles and people making you feel deep emotions. That there will be people who will offend you. There will be people who will let you down. There will be people who
provoking you,
disappoint you. There will be people who will betray you. All of these things are maybe in your life right now and may be coming as the days get darker. Yes. But you cannot allow an emotional reaction to cause you to lose the blessings and the inheritance that God has prepared for you. He is expecting you to follow his spirit over and above your flesh, period.
Right. That's right.
He is expecting you to, yes, feel it. If you have to feel the grief, or you have to feel the sadness or the anger or the disappointment or the whatever it is you have to feel, it's okay to acknowledge those feelings, but you should not allow yourself to be governed more by your feelings than you are by his spirit.
Come on.
And if you can't control your emotions, remove yourself from that circumstance until you are able to.
Let it go.
Literally. If you have to walk out of the room,
walk away.
Walk out of the room. If you have to get off the phone,
say nothing.
Get off the phone. If you have to block someone on social media just to keep them from taking you into that place.
Blocking you blesses me.
Do what you have to do to not miss God's blessing and his plan for your life in a moment of impulsiveness.
Or even come off of social media.
I don't know who that's for. If it don't apply, let it fly. But if that's for you, be encouraged that God can show you the way to work through whatever you're going through.
Yes.
And in the case of something like anger or rage, it looks like that was the end there. In the case of something like anger or rage, you literally will have a chemical reaction in your body. Because when you have that anger or rage, have you ever heard somebody say, all I saw was red? That's because all of your involuntary nervous system is firing, because now it's in fight or flight mode because the emotions are so amped up. Cortisol is spiking in your body. Adrenaline is spiking in your body. All kind of things are going on when you're angry, and literally you can feel that in your body when you get that angry, to where your muscles are tightening up. You might have a pit in your stomach. Some people their voice gets to shaking, or their body gets to shaking. Those are literally the chemical and hormonal responses to a heightened emotion. And what you want to do is, when you feel those chemicals that are coursing through your body at that moment, that is not when you say that thing that you really want to say. That is not when you make that decision that could have long-lasting effects. What you want to do is remove yourself from the moment long enough to allow your chemical reactions to subside, so that you can become more calm. You can slow down your breathing, right? There's the big new thing now. They call it box breathing, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, and you breathe out for 4 seconds. And you do that a few times to bring your heart rate down, to bring your chemical systems back into balance. Okay, you want to take the time to be angry, but sin not, and allow those anger chemicals to reset themselves before you say the things that you want to say. If you really want to say something really, really, really badly, take a deep breath, hold it for a few seconds, and then more calmly state what you need to state. But what you don't want to do is allow your emotions to control you behaving in the manner of flesh instead of a manner of the spirit, because you don't want to lose the inheritance that God has for you if you continue to bear the fruit of the Spirit. So that's all I really want to say about that today.
What's this right here?
It says share as a real or be done. So you would probably just say done. All right. And on that note, since it looks like your lives have already gone off and we're at time, this is probably a good time to put a period on that sentence. Right. So be encouraged. All of us have emotions. Everybody is not happy all the time. We're not built, and we're actually not made to be happy all the time. We're made to have a wide range of emotions, and all of those emotions help to create that human experience that we all have. Okay? Your emotions are not wrong, but we have to put those emotions in a context and not be led or controlled by our emotions, but rather be controlled by His Spirit. Amen?
That's right.
All right. So have a great week this week, and if you approach a situation that makes you angry, I hope this conversation will come back to your mind, and you'll be encouraged to respond according to the Spirit, in Jesus' name. So I'm Lady J.
And I'm LuvLuv, and thank you very much for your service. We really appreciate you very much.
And we'll talk